Welcome in, everyone. My name is Amanda. For the creators, visionaries, and builders who have been feeling or sensing a shift in their career, today we are going to understand exactly why. These messages are going to highlight the energy and patterns at play, which will support your own reflection and inner knowing. As always, take what resonates, leave the rest. You have 4 piles to choose from. Pick one or all 4. The timestamps are in the description. Trust your gut, pick your path, and let's get to work. Hello, Soul Path 1. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Archer card, biding your time, planning ahead. I feel like you might be planting a lot of seeds right now and waiting to see which ones are going to bear fruit. You could also be focused on a specific goal, but are doing multiple things in order to achieve that goal. You could be a Sagittarius as well, because this is very Sagittarian in nature, very adventurous, exploratory, big picture thinker, big picture vision. So let's get straight into the reading today. We're going to pull 3 cards for you. We have the 7 of Swords in reverse. We have the Hanged Man. And we have the Fool. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So if you are sensing change, here it is. So in the position of the energy that is most present in your career right now, we have the 7 of Swords. And I feel what is happening here is that you almost have no regrets about something. I don't know if you've left a job and you're charting a new path, looking to new landscapes. You have a focus on something new. If we go back to that Archer card, it's like you got honest with yourself. You got honest with someone, maybe in your business or in your job, in your career. But I think this is more honesty with yourself. Maybe you were afraid to be honest and be authentic in a particular situation with a particular person. And now that you've got honest with yourself and maybe with this person, maybe you've made a decision in that regard, what's starting to emerge that you may not fully see yet is that you're starting to change your perspective. But it's not comfortable with this Hanged Man. They're in a very uncomfortable position, but they've knowingly and willingly got themselves there because they want to see a different point of view. They want to see things in a new way. They want to be enlightened. And this is kind of seeing the opposite end of the spectrum, the opposite polarity, so that you can have a fully rounded understanding or experience. And I feel that's what's happening here, is that you could have possibly made a decision, maybe without even knowing it, but just by stepping into your authenticity and being seen for who you truly are, what you really think, maybe your ideas, you've put yourself in this zone of discomfort. And it's helping you see things in a new way. And you don't actually see that yet. You don't actually see the new perspective. You don't have that enlightenment yet because you're still on that path of gaining that understanding, of gaining that enlightenment. So it might be uncomfortable for a time. And how you can best work with this shift is the Fool. And the Fool is seeing new possibilities, new potential, not having any preconceived ideas or notions about what this experience or the results should be or need to be in order for you to have a good experience. I feel like you're going to learn a lot, and a lot is going to change with whatever happened with the 7 of Swords. I feel it's a positive change because we do have the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck here, which is the deeper pattern, the subtle force, or the hidden influence. So I think this change was almost fated to happen in some way. You were meant to step into your authentic self a little more. You were meant to trust yourself a little bit more, or share some kind of truth with someone without fear. And I think that you've done that beautifully. Although it does come with new territory, it does come with fresh new landscapes, fresh new ways of doing things, fresh new ideas. And now you're in this new position of, okay, I'm now stepping into my authenticity or stepping into my truth. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know where I'm going. So I feel there's a lot of questions that could be coming up right now. And again, I think this is just a practice in trusting yourself, because you are seeing the other side of the coin. And I feel like this is your first experience. Not that you haven't not been truthful with people or that you haven't been authentic, but I feel you've gotten really clear with yourself on what you want, what you don't want, who you are, who you're not. And you're starting to see new possibilities through that. You're starting to see brand new potential that you've never seen before. But right now I feel it hasn't quite shown itself yet. So continue the path. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your truth. And almost approach this as if you were a child, very curious, very whimsical, very wondrous. That doesn't mean you can't be responsible, that you can't do what you need to do to pay the bills, for example. But both of these cards are kind of whimsical in nature. They're open to adventure. They're open to where the path leads. They have an idea of what they want, but an uninhibited idea of how to get there. There's no preconceived ideas of that either. They're open to whatever happens. That's where their naivete kind of works for them. Continue to have that focus on where you would like to go. And if you don't have an idea yet of where you'd like to go, then this is a great opportunity to really define that. And that could be part of that Hanged Man energy, where there is a delay, there's a pause before the movement forward, because you have to gain some enlightenment about, okay, what's next? Now that I've taken this maybe small action, which has created a lot of big changes, now what? Allow there to be room and breath between one thing and another. Allow yourself to explore and be a little curious about the possibilities, about what's next, and about how to get there. Experiment as well. Don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things, to be okay failing, to be okay being wrong. This feels like an exciting place to be. It may not feel like that right now, but I think in hindsight, you're going to understand that this moment is a very defining moment in your career. Because we have 3 major arcanas here and 1 minor arcana. So I think that the small thing that you may have done, coming to some kind of truth, being honest with yourself or others, communicating something, sharing something out in the open, no longer playing small, that is a massive shift. That internal shift is creating a massive external change. And while that's scary, that's also exciting, because you are stepping into a new chapter, maybe even a new book entirely. So be patient with this, be graceful with yourself, and stay open-minded on the journey. That is the message I have for you today, my dear Soul Path 1. If this hit home, share in the comments, I'd love to hear, and subscribe so you don't miss the next reading. And if you feel called to explore these themes more deeply, you're welcome to join us over on Patreon. That's where I share extended reflections and deeper context around the energies that we're working with. The link for that is in the description. Remember, you're not here to wait for your future, you're here to create it. I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, my Soul Path 2. Welcome into your reading. You chose the Sailor, New Influences, and Wanderlust. A smooth sea doesn't make a skilled sailor, something that I'm hearing. So you could be going through a bit of rough patches in your career. But you could also be seeking out new landscapes. This is a little similar to Soul Path 1. I feel you're doing it in a different way, though. This feels a little more free-flowing. Soul Path 1 had a very direct, this is where I'm going and this is where I'm setting my sights, but this one feels a little more fluid. It feels like you're moving into uncharted territory, or you're not really sure where you're going. You're just setting sail, and it's very Fool energy. You could be looking for new inspirations as well, new inspirations for a project that you're working on, new inspirations for a new business that you want to start, or just wanting an injection of something new here. Maybe you're growing bored of what you're currently doing. Apathetic. So it's like, man, I need to shake things up. Or sabbatical I'm getting as well. So it's like shaking things up by going on an extended vacation, or shaking things up by changing environments. Starting something new. Yeah, let's get 3 cards out and see what's going on for Soul Path 2. Could be at a crossroads. The Star. You're following your North Star, and what's interesting is that sailors used the North Star to navigate the seas. So I think you might not know how exactly, what am I trying to say? It's like, the essence of what you're trying to capture, kind of loosely what you're trying to go after, but you're not really sure how to get there or what it might look like exactly. And yes, the Magician. Yeah, that is that new influence. We've got the Magician bottom of the deck here. We have the Star card, the 4 of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. So being fluid, keep that in mind, because we're going to talk about that when we get to the Ace of Cups. And the Magician at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so the Star card is in the position of what energy is most present in your career right now. That's a good place to be. And again, I feel there could be a ton of questions around, how do I get there? What is it exactly that I'm trying to go towards? It's like you're following a feeling, and that is it. You're following your intuition, and that is it. But you don't really know exactly what things might look like when you get there. Or how to get there. How long is it going to take me to get there? But you're just following those nudges. And I do get that feeling with that. Again, it's very fluid. It's like you're following the spirit of, you're following what moves you, essentially. And that could be an uncomfortable place for you. But it could also be quite exciting too, depending on your perspective of things. What's starting to emerge that you may not fully see yet is the 4 of Pentacles. So the 4 of Pentacles is very fixed energy. It can speak to restraint. In this deck specifically, I always get saving for a rainy day. So limiting your spending or feeling restricted around how you spend your time, energy, money, or general resources that you are working with. But it may be required. It may be necessary. So by following whatever this star is, there's a lot of fluidity and movement with that, which may mean that you have to tighten something up in the meantime. Tightening your finances or expenses, tightening your strategy, giving yourself some kind of structure or foundation to start from. Maybe even saving money to be able to follow this path with a little more intention. You might get to a point where finances start to get a little tight. So by pre-planning that, it might help you avoid getting into a situation that feels very stuck and rigid and restricted. It's very interesting that there's so much optimism, there's so much hope, there's so much following your true north. I feel like you're really aligned here, but there's a practicality coming in with this 4 of Pentacles that also needs to be considered. So if you're a big dreamer, if you have a lot of beautiful ideas, you love to explore, you love to experiment, you love to be inspired, that is a wonderful thing to have, but it also needs to have structure. So that is being called to your attention right now. Whether it's financial, whether it's something that you have to do within your home, there's something about stability. Giving your ideas stability is going to help you get there faster or help you find clarity on how to get there. And the Ace of Cups, how you can best work with this shift, and this is reflection for your greatest alignment here, is the Ace of Cups. This isn't just about nurturing the dream, it's also about nurturing yourself in that process as well. It's also going with the flow of the energy, but going with the flow doesn't necessarily mean following the feelings. It's about what is required in this moment to nurture what is needed in this moment. So maybe it's finance, maybe it's self-care, maybe it's nurturing an idea. And it's funny that that's coming through, because usually there's a lot of energy that comes through where it's about not trusting your intuition. And so the guidance is usually follow your intuition more. But this is like, I feel you're really good at following your intuition. You're really tuned into your feelings and you follow your feelings. I think that's a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful thing. It's what's got you aligned to this point. But I also feel that self-care is important in this process. So it's not just about nurturing the dream, it's about supporting yourself in this process towards your dream, towards your North Star. But I do think the deeper pattern at play, the subtle force or the hidden influence, is something that's very creative. And again, I'm also getting limitations from this. So working with what you have is going to be important. Using whatever resources you have available to you without overextending yourself. Giving your ideas structure. Maybe even giving yourself a loose plan. And yeah, how can you bring your ideas to form? Because I feel you have a lot of ideas. You have a lot of wonderful insights. But it's the practical that's really going to help you bring that to life. And with this Ace of Cups too, we also have 4 streams happening here. So there could be multiple streams of income that you might have to create for yourself in order to truly support this goal, whatever this North Star is. So expanding on your passions or your dreams or your insights a little bit more rather than having a singular focus. It's like, how can you expand that a little bit so that you can open up new pathways to getting to that North Star? Again, I'm just coming back to that, supporting that goal in a very practical way. So this is the message I have for you today, my dear Soul Path 2. If this hit home, share in the comments. I'd love to hear. And subscribe so you don't miss the next reading. And if you feel called to explore these themes more deeply, you're welcome to join us on Patreon. That's where I share extended reflections and deeper context around the energies we're working with over there. The link to join is in the description. Remember, you're not here to wait for your future, you're here to create it. I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, Soul Path 3, welcome in. You chose the Tailor, Attention to Detail, and Pride. You could be a tailor. I don't know. Maybe you are in fashion. But there's something here that needs to be sewn up. This could be an energy leak. This could be a financial leak. But I feel you are somebody that could pay attention to the detail a lot. And there could be a lot of pride in that. There's a perfectionism coming through. There's a mastery coming through as well. So whatever you do, I feel like you're very diligent in how you do something. There's a quality control that I feel with whatever it is that you do. You even have this sense of what things to cut, what things need to be mended, fixed, changed, adapted. So you've got a good intuition for something here as well. Let's hop straight into your reading. Get 3 cards out, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It is in reverse. We'll talk about that guy in a minute. And you have the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Lovers in the upright. All of these are in the upright. So, Seven of Wands is in the position of what energy is most present in your career right now. Yeah. I definitely feel like you are not one to back down from competition, from opposition. You are willing to stand up to any challenge or any adversity that you come across. You may have overcome a lot of challenges or adversity in your life to get to where you are as well. And so there's just a lot of strength that I feel that you have in going where you want to go and getting what you need. And you're not afraid, you won't back down, you're not afraid to persevere. You're open to standing up to challenge. And you have a lot of energy to do that. It's like you advocate for yourself or your projects or whoever it is that you maybe support or service as well. I'm very passionate about what you do overall. Now, the Eight of Pentacles is what is starting to emerge that you may not fully see yet. And this is that mastery. You've worked really hard to get to where you are. You have mastered some kind of skill or will master some kind of skill because you do persevere. You do stand up to all of the challenges. You don't back down. And with that, you continue to show up for the work that you do. Therefore, you are going to master something over a period of time. You're going to get better at something. You're going to improve upon something. Again, I'm getting a little bit of perfectionism here because there is a commitment. There is a diligence with the Eight of Pentacles because it's where you put your time, energy, money, and focus to be able to get really good at something and maybe even deepen your knowledge in something. At the very least, deepen your skill. You're not afraid of that hard work. And you may not see that right now. You may be working towards that. But that is what is emerging because of that fight, because of overcoming all of the challenges that may get you a little wary. You are creating mastery. You're even honing your voice, your style, your creativity in some way. Maybe even finding something that is uniquely yours. Again, the Tailor, you are crafting something that is uniquely yours. So you start out, what I'm seeing is you start out with the same pentacle that everybody has. But based on how you approach that pentacle, it can change and adapt and shift the more time you put into it, the more changes that are unique to you that you put into it. And that's a slow, steady process. How can you best work with this shift is the Lovers. So this is commitment energy. This is showing up to do the work. This is making choices that align to the highest good of your expression, the highest good of your career, the highest good of your project, whatever it is, and for better or worse, showing up for it. It's also balancing your divine feminine and divine masculine along the way. So it's not just about doing the work and continuing to work and be productive and prove yourself. This is also about taking the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy your success, enjoy the thing that you're doing, not just for the end goal or for that mastery, but for the pleasure of it. And the Knight of Swords in reverse is the deeper pattern at play, the subtle force, or the hidden influence. I feel like this comes from this mastery or this drive that you have, this fierceness, I feel was due to some unkindness that you experienced in your past. I don't know if that was last year or if it was 20 years ago. But in your youth, in your young adulthood, you might have experienced some unkind words, someone who was overly critical. And this created this drive to do your best and even go above and beyond what you were expected to do. So it has created this person who does really well in their career, who does really well in whatever they pursue and have a passion for. But I don't think this came easy. So there is some guidance here to be really kind to yourself as well. Give yourself some grace. You don't always have to overcome. You don't always have to achieve. You don't always have to produce. That is not your value. And that may be a little bit of a shadow aspect coming through in your reading. But this is about a more divine energy, I feel. Whatever this next step in your career is, or whatever is shifting your career, it's not only helping you master something and be proud of your success and your achievements, but it's also aligning you to something that is a little more passionate or loving. So again, it's about the drive, but it's also about the willingness to receive, the willingness to be soft on yourself, allowing, going with the flow, and not constantly pushing, but coming into balance with both of those energies. So again, I just get this feeling that you're subtly moving into an energy of succeeding at something, of mastering something, but to really hold yourself in that success, to really be proud of yourself, to know that what you do is enough and who you are is enough, outside of the productivity, outside of the success. So this is the message I have for you today, my dear Soul Path 3. If this hit home, share in the comments. I'd love to hear, and subscribe so you don't miss the next reading. And if you feel called to explore these themes more deeply, you're welcome to join us on Patreon. That's where I share extended reflections and deeper context around the energies we're working with over there. The link to find us is in the description box. And remember, you're not here to wait for your future, you're here to create it. I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, my Soul Path 4. Welcome in. You chose the Chiromancer, delivering news and collaboration. You could be someone who works with energy. You could be a tarot reader, a psychic, someone who works with astrology as well. Understanding energy overall. Working with unseen energy. I'm getting someone who is, they write forecasts or horoscopes or something as well. So that's kind of cool. If you are, let me know. That sounds really fun. But collaboration could be part of your next chapter, or it could be, something that you are seeking to maybe expand upon your business. Maybe you're working with divine energy, so unseen energy. You're working with your intuition more. You're looking at astrology and human design and gene codes and all of the things to help you understand yourself a little better, maybe on a more physiological, that's not the right word, maybe a psychological or spiritual level to help in your career. So let's get 3 cards out and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so you could be experiencing lots of change right now. Yes, a lot of questions. Oh my gosh. Let's see, is the bottom? Wow. Ace of Pentacles in reverse at the bottom of the deck. You're looking for new opportunity, I feel. And there's some big stuff going on because of that. So in the position of what energy is most present in your career right now, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So fated change, destined change, but generally change overall. I feel you've reached some kind of peak in whatever career path you have moved on up until this point. And it's interesting where we have more planetary and astrological aspects here, just like this card. So there's something in your astrology that is indicating a shift right now. So if you don't know about that, then maybe that could help. Because I feel, there's the Ace of Pentacles there in this card. So there's definitely something going on within the astrology, but within the overall energy that's going on around you. So if you wondered whether or not you did something wrong to create these changes, I mean, you could have made some changes which changed everything in the external, but I feel there's a lot of energy around you that is out of your control. This almost feels like a massive shift. Tectonic plates shifting underneath you. That is maybe putting you in a really uncomfortable and difficult position, but it's almost necessary for you to have the fresh start or to see the new opportunity that you would like to have. So it's almost like you manifested a change. And again, this isn't wrong. It's not to blame. But you've manifested a change, and in order to get you to that change or that manifestation, a whole bunch of things have to be rearranged. That is not, I mean, it's a great opportunity. It's a great experience on the other side of all of this, but going through it is not fun. And what is starting to emerge that you may not fully see yet, and the moon is always difficult to see because it is shrouded in darkness. Well, I mean, the moon itself isn't difficult to see because it is the only thing that you can see in the dark. And it is a very low light. You can only see that next correct step in front of you. And when we see the moon, we usually have two figures here. And this one is a dog and a cat. So there's loyalty and curiosity here, kind of at play. There is your logical, there's your practical, logical, this is the way forward. But then there's also this intuitive, wild instinct that's telling you to do something else. So a lot of things could be at odds right now. You could have more questions than answers. And that can be okay. It's not uncomfortable. I've gone through Dark Night of the Soul, and it lasted more than I would like to admit. And a whole bunch of things unraveled in that process, which was not comfortable. But my soul was ready. My soul was ready. And it has deepened my self-trust. It has really clarified my way forward. So I can tell you on the other side of all of this, and it may not be exactly the same, but on the other side of the darkness, on the other side of all of the questions, are going to be beautiful possibilities. And we have the Fool card, which is how you can best work with this shift. This is keeping an open mind, being really playful and curious about this. The moon is going, and the Wheel of Fortune is going to ask a lot of you, but mostly it's going to ask you to let go of everything that feels familiar and comfortable, and to help you come back to yourself. That is one of the beauties of this experience, is that it helps you come back to yourself so that you can come back to controlling only what you can control and releasing the rest. So if there's things falling away that you can't actively influence or inspire to stay, then for a time, whether that be temporary or permanently, it must be released. Your participation or your grip on that has to be released so that you can open yourself up to new opportunities, new possibilities, new horizons. And the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck in reverse is the deeper pattern at play, the subtle force or the hidden influence. And this is a brand new opportunity, but it's in the reverse. So in this moment, it might not be on the table. But that's okay. It is here. It is showing up. It is just not active yet. Because you have to move through some kind of challenge. Understand something about yourself, about your career path, in order for you to be open enough to accept and have the energy for this new opportunity. So I don't know what's happening, but it feels pretty big. It almost feels like an identity shift. So you could have been identified as, this person in a career, a job role, a job title. But now something is shifting completely, and you're shifting into something brand new territory, unknown territory. And you don't really have a guidebook on how to do this because you've never done it before, or everything feels like it's changing. Everything feels new. And there are so many questions about who you are, what you value, what kind of value you bring to the world, how you can serve others. What does that look like? Where do you go? How do you get there? So allow these questions to be okay for a time. And being curious, trusting your intuition a little more. Something here is being illuminated. Something here is opening up. But you won't see that until the dawn breaks. And right now I feel like the sun is setting on something. So you have to be okay in the zone of discomfort for a bit until such time the dawn breaks again. In the Wheel of Fortune, when everything around us is chaotic and out of our control, we have to find grounding practices to bring ourselves back into center. So explore what those might be for you, because that might be quite helpful for you, especially when it comes to creating a sense of safety within yourself, calming the nervous system, slowing down the mind, so that you can feel okay in this moment, even though it's not comfortable, even though you want to have answers. The way out is the way through. That is the message I have for you today, my dear Soul Path 4. If this hit home, share in the comments. I'd love to hear. And subscribe so you don't miss the next reading. And if you feel called to explore these themes more deeply, you're welcome to join us on Patreon. That's where I share extended reflections and deeper context around the energies we're working with over there. The link to find that is in the description. Remember, you're not here to wait for your future, you're here to create it. I'll see you in the next reading.